At InDigital, we know the public safety professionals hold themselves to a high standard. In fact, standard doesn't do it justice. In over 25 years working alongside you, carrying millions of calls over our IP networks, your dedication has inspired us. That's why our ESINet goes beyond industry standards, not only I3 compliant, but designed to adapt to future development for a network you can count on when it matters most. Learn more at indigital.net.
Here in Greenville County, we have 8 different places where a 911 call can be answered.
It is the largest county in South Carolina. It's a challenge.
The type of information that a telecommunicator gets from Radius Plus is location-based technology. You can see where the caller is, if they have a medical issue, if they speak a different language. They're immediately able to text to that caller in their native language. It reduces response times because it immediately gets first responders where they need to be.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is going to be Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them. This episode is sponsored by InDigital as well as Rapid Deploy, and a big shout out to patrons. Thank you so very much for everything. I wouldn't be able to do what it is that I do if it wasn't for you and all of you who are watching, listening, supporting, and sharing. So thank you so very much. We are recording live, actually, from the 2021 National NENA Conference in Columbus, Ohio. We're currently in the Expo Hall, and it's July 26th. It's a little after 4, and they are doing an ice cream social. So there are some people that are walking around. However, from 5 to 6, they got a happy hour. And right over here next to us, they got a bar that's already set up, and things are going to get going. And I have got a guest with me, and this is Jacob, and he is with Carter County 911 out of Tennessee. What's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So the last time we saw each other was at the TINA conference.
Yeah, it was
right?
2019.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. It was 2019?
Yes.
Holy crap. It's okay. So everything just seems to be just going fast.
Yeah.
You know, just especially with everything that's been going on, still going on a little bit, right? With the pandemic and everything. But that conference was so much fun. We
had a blast.
Yes, we had a very good time. We were sitting at the table, and there was a lot of pie. There was a lot of pie. We had a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good. And then
we even brought some pie back with us to the hotel.
Yeah. yeah. That and what was the name of the game again that we were playing?
One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Yes.
It's a good little board game. I actually have it in my room.
Oh, snap. Yes. So that was a lot of fun too. I'd never played that before. I think I played a round or two, and then I was like, I don't know that I fully get this, so I'm going to watch you all play this first. But it was cool though to be able to play it and everything. So if you've never played it, make sure to
It really
play
is a game dispatchers will love, because we're always taking in all the information and be like, okay, this doesn't add up.
Right.
And that's the whole game. It's like, yeah, you're full of it.
Yes. That is something that we're doing all the time, right? Whenever there's a call that comes in, and we start searching right away.
Yeah.
Start searching and getting into the investigation part of it.
Yeah, just trying to drag as much information as we can out of it. And
right.
Then you're like, you know, they say something, they've double backed, and so here you are notating in your CAD, be like, they've said this, but now they're saying this.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good comparison between the game and the investigation piece to what it is that we do every single day. I loved it. It was excellent. Since then, though, like, what has been going on? Like, how have you been? Before we get into your story, how's things been going?
It really got to me because I'm the type of person, I love to go out and do stuff. Motorcycle, I hop on there and I'll just go ride. Staying out here or there. Well, you kind of can't do that when everybody's locked down.
True that.
So my adventure streak was shut down to nothing. So I just kind of was staying at the house all day, and that kind of gets just depressing.
Right.
Not being able to do anything. So COVID hit me hard because I love to go out and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love to go out and hang out with my buds. You can't do that. There's no place to go, or B, hey,
Right.
you're COVID positive. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, and then what do you do? You start seeing people just kind of disappearing.
Yeah, everybody becomes text friends.
Right.
Yes. And I don't like talking on the phone. I do it as my job. I talk on the phone enough. I either want to see you, and hang out in person, or text is fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to just hear a voice.
Yeah. So when all of this went down, my brother, I didn't see him for months and months, and he lives 5 minutes away from me.
Right. No, I'm saying both my brothers. I have one that lives just across town, and the other one's a 20-minute drive.
Wow.
But my middle brother, his wife works in a nursing home. So they had to be really careful about who they were around. So, you can't go visit them.
Oh, yeah. It was crazy everywhere.
Yeah.
All kinds of different things going on. And plus, on top of that, what we're doing right now here in the expo hall with people walking around and everything else, we weren't doing this.
No.
Yeah, this was not going on. So it was a little, I don't know how it was for you, but for me, it was a little overwhelming, and only because, so for two things. One, because this was the first time me coming into a National NENA conference. I was at the Navigator conference a couple of weeks ago, but the National NENA conference where everything really started picking up with the podcast and stuff for me, but coming in as Within the Trenches Media versus with the industry partner who's now a sponsor, who I was working for before. So that part, but also just seeing everyone, and that I think it was different a little bit because not everyone that I knew was at the Navigator conference. So it was still like school after summer vacation, and you see everyone for the first time. But here, it's way bigger, and there was way more people. So I was like, all right, I got to kind of prep for this. We're getting back into it.
Yeah, especially last night, the dinner that we had over at the New Market.
Mm-hmm.
We met some people from San Diego. So they're like, we had a bunch of open seats, and they're like, where are you from? We're like, Tennessee. They're just like, okay, we'll get along. Sit down, had a great time.
Nice. Yeah,
it was just nice just being able to talk to people face to face.
Right, exactly. Now, is this your first National NENA conference?
Yes, it is.
Oh, even better. So, a shout out to NENA because we're at booth 1045 and they hooked us up. So, very cool for them hooking us up for that as well, and hosting the podcast, but especially for first timers. At the opening sessions, they usually ask, how many first timers are here, and they raise their hands. And lately, or at least from the time before to I'm guessing now, a lot of people, they were newcomers, first timers that were coming to this. So, what have you thought so far?
Oh, it's been amazing. I was driving up here. We're a 6-hour drive. I was thinking, okay, Tina was small in comparison. I'll go ahead and imagine that. So I was expecting something half this size, and then opened up the expo doors. And I'm like, well, I was severely underguessing what this is. It's amazing. It's just, you can look around, and it's people that they don't know you, but they do.
Right.
They know your struggles from your job. They've dealt with what you've dealt.
Exactly.
It's just a group of people that are just like you.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see that. You can point at anybody and be like, yeah, he's had a hard time. Yeah. We all have.
Right.
Anybody that's been a dispatcher for any length of time, they've had some bad stuff.
Right, exactly. And a lot of times, and maybe you experienced this yesterday with the group from San Diego, but you end up talking and you realize, there's like, for example, a chair graveyard, dispatch chair graveyard. In our dispatch center, we had like 20 of them that were just there that nobody used, except for the one that looked like had been shit on and burned.
Oh, it's so haggard, yeah.
Yes.
We actually got rid of our chair graveyard just before COVID.
Oh, yeah?
Our assistant director come in. He was like, he's tired of it. So he trashed them all, which was okay because they were falling apart. But, man, the hellfire that rained after that. For people that still sat in the one haggard chair.
Yes. I don't get it. Because at ours, the armrest, one of them was missing. And another one looked like whoever had been sitting there at the time was like gripping it and pulled some of the the foam off. Yeah. But people still loved it.
Yeah, we had one, and if you looked at it wrong, the arm would just fall off. Yeah. I walked by one day, and it's just like, look, and I'm like, oh man, I broke the chair, okay? And they're like, no, it does not. And I'm like, why do we still keep it?
Right, exactly. There's, I don't know. It's some part of the cushion or something, I guess.
It's the most comfortable. It's well broke in. That was the excuse.
There you go. Yes, like, that's what it is.
Well broke into the floor. It's time for some new stuff.
Oh my gosh, that is funny. So I want to learn more about you, especially for the audience who's watching and listening as well. How did you get into dispatching to begin with? So do you come from a public safety family, or did you just kind of heard about it? And
so I originally have been in the car business for the past decade. Okay, my middle brother has been EMS for 5 or 6 years, 7 years now. And so I just, the car business is just, it was horrible. I dreaded waking up every morning. My brother's like, hey, Carter County's hiring. I know you'll be good at this. So I was like, okay, me and my brothers are tied. Mm-hmm. So if he says that I'm going to enjoy this, okay, I believe it. Yeah. So I went in covered in grease. I left work early, and I'm pretty sure that I had zebra stripe grease all over me. I was still in my shop uniform, because that's what you have to do.
Right, yeah.
So I come in, I talk to Chris. He's one of our admin, great guy. And he's just hitting up with me like, I'm here to apply. So I think I sit there and talk to him for probably 15 or 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I filled out my application, done all that. And then we had the hearing test and all, your normal hire stuff. Then we had the board interview. So here I am still having to leave work, come in. We have a shower at the dealership. Yeah, a shower at a dealership. You can only imagine how that goes over. So here I am in nice clothes, and my hands are still covered in grease. So I'm sitting here for this board interview. It was amazing. We probably sit there for 45 minutes to an hour just horse laughing. What? Just getting to know one another. We had a great time. Wow. It was the best interview I've ever had. I come out of there like, I don't know if I've actually, done this right and they really like me or they think I'm a complete clown.
Yeah.
I got the job.
Dang. Well, okay, hold on. So how long did it take before you had found out that you got the job?
From the time I filled out my application to the time they actually had me come in and sign on the dotted line, it's about 2.5 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So those 2.5 months, at one point I'm like, I've just, they passed over me, which I don't blame him. I'm a grease monkey. So, yeah, okay. I understand from their standpoint. Yeah, this guy come into an interview covered in car grease. We definitely don't want him. But you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you ended up getting it.
As 2 years later, and every day when I wake up from my shift, I love it.
Dude, that is awesome.
I have a great team. My supervisor is my best friend. My whole team is my best friend. Yeah. We all get along. And that's what makes it.
And did you say 2 or 10?
2.
2. Man, so you jump in there and you got all, well, okay, hold on. Let me go back really quick to your panel interview. How many people were in there?
5.
Oh, man. Okay. I asked, finally, someone who dealt with something similar. I think maybe there was 1 or 2 more out of all of these episodes that I've done. But one of the times that I applied at a place, I had applied at 2 at the same time. And one of them that I went in for the panel interview, there were 6. So it's me on one side of the table and then all 6 on the other side. And before I walked in, I asked the guy who had come out because he looked destroyed, like he looked ruined, and I said, did you just come out of an interview for like dispatch? And they're like, because yeah. And I said, well, how long was it, man? He's like 3.5 hours. I said, what? And he goes, yeah, good luck. And mine was close to that, but it wasn't that long. But it was still crazy because I'm sitting there, the county administrator asks a question, and then every single person after that is building on that question as well.
Yes.
But they each had their own list of questions, and everybody was just jumping in, and I'm just sitting there like, what the hell is going on here?
Yes. It was funny though. So like our director was out, so it was the assistant director, 2 of our admin, and then 2 other dispatchers. I believe was what was there. And so whenever I come in, the one before me apparently had just rubbed them the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
So I come in and sat down. They're like, "We need a minute." I'm like, "Oh." I am done before this even gets started. So they all, walk away, take a little break, come back in and sit down. And here I am, and I am probably one of the most open people you'll meet. I have no filter whatsoever. If you say something, you're getting my honest opinion. That's just how it goes.
You are a true dispatcher.
Yes. And so I had been warned before. Our assistant director is a former city police chief.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're like, who's going to be hard on you? So I'm like, okay, well, I can handle that. I've dealt with cars and people. And then we just had a blast. Me and Matt, our assistant director, we're just sitting there getting along, just horse laughing and just going on for my interview.
Wow. See, now that's the kind of interview you want to have.
Oh, yeah. I was flabbergasted. I come out of there and I'm like, I'm not sure what just happened.
Was there any time though where you felt like maybe you screwed something up at all because it took 2 months?
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. Yeah. And then the whole point of, because I've worked, as far as my previous career path was automotive, I've done everything, everything that you can think of involved with vehicles, I've done. And so then I'm like, well, I've messed up this dispatch. I've not got this, so I can fall back, but I don't want to. I've gone into this, I've researched what you can from the outside world, and talked to my brother, the medic, of what he's had to deal with this message. I'm like, this is something that I want to do. And then I don't hear anything. And I'm like, it kind of lets you down for a second. What have I done? What can I change? So the next time I see this position's open, I can go for it again.
Right, exactly. But that's cool though. So you went through that. You waited the 2 months and everything. How long after that did it take for you to actually get in there and start training? And on top of that as well, what was that like for you to walk into dispatch? I mean, did you have like a sit-along or anything like that beforehand?
Yeah.
Or was it just
diving in?
It
was just kind of diving in. So our training process for us it's pretty in-depth. So after they told me I got the job, I worked about 2 weeks notice involved. I was like, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
Started. So we come in, and so it initially starts, Leslie, her.
Yes.
She is our training coordinator. It's a 2-week classroom training. They let you get introduced to the CAD and kind of goes over some of the basics, how to answer the phone, what to look for before you just get thrown in. So our PSAP doesn't eat our own.
That's good.
We're not gonna baby you because then you don't learn, but we're not going to throw you to the wolves at the same time. So you got 2 weeks of, getting all your certifications, doing your CAD training, all that, and then you move into your CTO and on the floor. Yeah.
And what was that like for you then?
It was great.
What? Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on. So there are times, and I was one of those two, where it's kind of overwhelming seeing everything there, but for you it was awesome.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was amazing. I don't know how to describe it. I sat down and my trainer was going on, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. What do I need to say? Just tell me what to do and leave me alone. I was like, I got this.
Damn. Okay, so was there a moment, even I guess early on, where you just knew already, like right off the bat, like this is the job I want to do.
Yeah,
this has been awesome.
End of day 2.
No shit.
End of day 2, I'm like, man,
End of day 2.
I have hit the jackpot. I go, this just messes with me so well.
Wow. So, okay. Let's see here. I mean, I would have to attribute that as well to like a really good, training crew and everything as well.
Yes, I get my opinion.
Yeah.
I think we have the best.
Wow.
Leslie's really good. Even to this day, if you have any questions, email her. I emailed her on vacation. I'm always like, I know you're on vacation. Just get to this when you can. She answers it anyway. I was like, well,
I believe it.
Don't
Yeah.
do that. I can wait. It's nothing major. It is great. And so, especially because I'm also I'm a CTO now.
Oh.
So I am working on my second training while I'm here. she just kind of got put on her own for this week. And so, especially my shift, yes, your CTO is your main trainer. However, we all kind of pitch in. Hey,
That's
here's,
awesome.
especially with our CAD, there's multiple different ways to do the same thing. And so some people do it this way, some people do it that way. Same with, our NCIC, you got your fast keys or whatever, depending on the program you use.
Right. Yeah.
So I use it one specific way, and somebody else will be like, oh, you can do this the other way. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot that you can do that. So we really help each other out. But at the end of the day, the CTO comes first. What they say goes.
Right.
But everyone else is there to help.
Wow. See, that is awesome then, because with us, like we've got a good training program as well. I say we, but I don't work at Allegan anymore. But when I was there, like towards the end, the training got way better. But when I had first got there, it was a little difficult, because I'm trying to learn all of this stuff. The west side of the county was the county that I grew up in. So I knew all of that area, taking phone calls from people that I know, all this different stuff that's going on. But also during the training, I'm with one CTO. So there's 4 phases, and I'm with one, and then switch, and then switch again, and it was difficult only because they were training different ways, right? But if I was using a certain way with a different trainer, I was getting marked down.
Right.
So I was like, what? And then if I had come up with my own way that was a little faster, I was getting marked down because I wasn't doing it their way.
Doing it their way.
Yeah, so I almost quit. So that eat your young, or eat our young type thing, it wasn't full on with me, but it was a little bit, going on, and that kind of sucked. So things ended up changing though. I made it through, and everything was fine. But in your story, like with the awesome training team, and I guess really just relating and feeling comfortable and bringing you in and doing all of this, that's what makes it amazing.
Yeah. It was a good time. I never once thought that I've been left on my own.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a question, I could ask anybody. It
Right.
didn't really matter who I asked. I would go to my CTO first. She was always there. I used to give her the hardest time. I mean, we had a really good work relationship, and so I knew, okay, there's time to buckle down. Let's do this. And then there's other times we joke around, and that made the training to not get monotonous, and so it helped us get through a whole lot quicker. And it made it stick a whole lot faster.
Dang. So, do you remember your first call or any of the earlier calls, like when you first started jumping on and taking, whether it be 911 or some of the non-emergency lines? Because also, if you think about it, sometimes those calls that come in, those non-emergency lines, they're actually emergencies that come in.
I'll tell you the one that sticks with me the most. We had just got released from our 2 weeks of classroom work. I was working that day as IT.
Mm-hmm.
We had taken apart our consoles. We had taken them completely down, apart, and we were upgrading. So we would take one down, move up. Everybody was playing musical chairs as we tore these apart. Well, we get to the last one, and this is whenever Dale Earnhardt, the NASCAR driver, had his plane crash. That happened in my county.
That's right.
Yes. So I'm under this console, sweating like none other, and I hear I have a 1075. And I'm like, I'm still fresh with the 10 codes, and I'm like, did they just say plane crash? Like some complete idiot. I'm like, did I get that wrong?
Oh man.
And Chris is like, plane crash, and it went. Everything lit up, Everything was ringing. We had people
Jeez.
all our admin come running in there. Everybody was trying to get a hold of the phone. At some point, we had 2 people per station. Yeah, because the plane caught on fire and was pushing so much heat out. It was actually burning the asphalt, and the bridge the plane was sitting on was melting.
No way.
Yes. And we didn't even know who was in it at the time. We didn't know how many people were in it. So we're trying to, they're trying to get all these information. And so Chris, the head of our IT, was like, "You've got this." So here I am trying to slap this console back together while he's helping dispatch. And I had gotten an hour and a half install done in 20 minutes.
Jeez.
Yes. I was like, I can't promise that it'll function more than 2 hours, but it will get you through this.
Oh man.
So that was the biggest call that I remember to right off the bat.
Jeez. And you were still in training at the time?
It was my shift's off rotation. So we had just been released from our 2-week in-class book training.
Yeah.
And then whenever I was hired, there was 3 other people hired. So it was the other day shift that was on duty, and then me doing the IT stuff. And then it just all broke down.
Oh man. So I always tell people anything can happen in 911. And yeah, that's a prime example. I mean, you're working on, bringing down and putting back up these consoles and stuff because of all the work that you guys are doing, but then this happens. Yeah. And you have to scramble.
Yeah, it never fails. Every time we're in there doing IT stuff, something happens. We're either doing a rescue on the Appalachian Trail or water rescue from one of the rivers that everybody likes to inner tube on, or another plane crash.
Holy crap.
We've had, earlier this summer, we actually had another plane crash. Yeah, it ended up landing about a half mile off the Appalachian Trail, but it was still way up in the middle of nowhere.
Oh.
And the only reason we found out about it is because Atlanta, ATC, called us and be like, "We have a plane down. We think it's in your area." We haven't heard anything about it. So the only reason we found out about it is because we were calling everybody. We called every ATC on the East Coast trying to get a ping of where it last went down. And we finally found it.
Jeez. Okay. How many people do you have working on at a time?
Well, we maintain a minimum of 3. We try to keep it at 4 plus a power shift that rotates during our busiest hours.
So then how many people were on during, I guess, this most recent one?
During the most recent one, we actually had 4 full-time on our shift, and our power shift hadn't started yet. So, yeah. And that one was different, though, because no one watched that plane go down. Like, had Atlanta not called us, those people would probably still be in the woods upside down on the plane. Because no one saw it.
So then what goes, so for those who are watching and listening, what goes into a rescue like this? So you've got the plane that goes down, is now a rescue mission.
It's a rescue mission. Our rescue is handled by our EMS. They have their own rescue team. So we, page them out, be like, "Hey, this is what we've going on. This is what information we've got. We'll get more to you as soon as we got it." We notify our county officers. If it's close to the city limits, we'll go ahead and notify them too. And then any type of fire personnel if it's needed.
Jeez.
Yeah.
How long did it last? Do you remember?
We finally got to the guy, I think, 3 hours after the initial call.
Oh, man. And yeah, I can't even imagine, especially, the area that it ended up going down in, and, depending on the terrain and all of that, and those that you're sending up there.
Yeah.
It's got to take forever.
Yeah, we're lucky that we have a really good rescue team. They know all the trails, all the river. I'm surprised they don't have it tattooed on them. Because you could be like the 4th oak beside the White Rock and be like, "Oh, yeah, I got that. It's a 45-minute ATV ride." It'd be like, okay. And they're right. But, we told them the GPS coordinates, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we can come in from here." And so there's a little hollow road 6 miles down that you can get on the ATC trail. And so then they go.
Wow. I'm trying, for everybody watching and listening, I'm trying to imagine all of this. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I think we had only maybe 2 or 3 calls of a plane down. I never worked it. Luckily, I was at home during the time.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah, so I wasn't working it or anything, but I remember hearing about it and thinking, dang, there's a lot that went into that, and glad everybody ended up being okay, and all that other stuff. But so you mentioned that you're a CTO now as well. So for those who are watching and listening that are not in the public safety space, what is a CTO?
Be your certified training officer. You go through we went through APCO, you get your training certificate for that. And so then it lets you have the ability to train your up and coming dispatchers.
Nice.
Your fresh hires that are clowns like me. I get to I get to train myself.
Well, clown or not, I mean, you're enjoying yourself. You're enjoying the job, and like you said, you don't see yourself doing anything else. Like that's awesome.
Right. Well, I know when to hunker down and be serious. There's times, but at the same time, I don't see any way that you can be serious 24/7 and do this job and it not drive you crazy.
Yes, exactly. I fully agree. That sometimes people would have asked me, what does it take? What does it take to be, in dispatch and stuff? And I've told them common sense and being human, but also along with that, you got to have a kind of a thick skin, but also a sense of humor.
You're also going to be able to recognize your own weakness.
Yes,
and not. For me, it was, don't be the stereotypical, male. Oh, nothing hurts me. No. Whenever I first come in, one of my big things was, okay, I'm going to hear some stuff I didn't think it would bother me. I was all, a mechanic and all this, nothing hurts a guy. No. You'll hear some stuff. And
right.
It will eat at you. And that's why you can't be serious all the time. Because once it gets at you, if you're serious all the time, you'll never get rid of it. It'll get to you.
So I have, this was a few years ago now, but I recorded an episode, and I remember somebody tweeted saying something to the effect of, I'm glad, or I hope that you will never be the dispatcher who answers my call because you laugh and joke about way too much stuff. And I didn't even have to respond to it because so many people responded instead on my behalf. One of them being a nurse saying, have you ever seen or smelled bird flesh, all this other stuff. She goes, if you can't have dark humor about certain things, she goes, I would be crying more than laughing by this time. And I was like, that's exactly it. So the intro to Imagine Listening, at the end of it, it says, so let's start with a bang. And that sentence, that one part is dedicated to that person who told me that, I laugh and joke too much about stuff, but that is just a little bit of dark humor in that.
Right. Dispatchers are bad for dark humor. And we're tasteful about it, especially my shift.
Right.
We've got some things, if you were to say out loud in public, they're going to be like, where's your white jacket that ties behind your back?
Yeah.
You're just going to be tasteful about it. Mm-hmm. Do it whenever you're with your shift, with people that are okay with it. Not every time you're going to work with people on a shift that actually have the same sense of humor.
Exactly.
So you got to be respectful and tasteful at the same time.
Right.
I'm lucky that all my shifts are crazy. We all have a good old time whenever it's warranted.
Right.
And you have to have the dark humor to get through some of that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Because, like that person said, they would be crying more than they were laughing. And I know for myself as well, if I didn't have that type of dark humor, I probably would have never made it.
Yeah.
As long as I did. I did it for 8.5 years, and it was an excellent time. I enjoyed it. I mean, I took a lot of shit calls, but just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But it still worked out, and it was excellent. So thinking back on you wanting to, or you being a CTO now, what was your inspiration for that? Was it the fact that because from what I've seen, what I've heard from a lot of people who talk and everything, is that the reason that they ended up doing a certain position or whatever is because of a trainer they had, or a certain call, or a certain something that happened to them, and they wanted to help all the new ones that were coming in. So was it kind of the same for you?
Yeah, it was. I'm not going to claim I'm the best, but I'm good at my job.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it takes, and I know what to do. And my trainer left. She decided that she wanted to change careers and become a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a good trainer. She was good. And so I kind of felt like we had a major gap. Like, we still have good trainers there, but her not being there is kind of a gap for us.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to do this. And so we had to do some begging and pleading so I could get as a CTO early.
Yeah.
Because we kind of had a semi-mass exodus. We had a few people leave.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not a large agency, but we're not a small agency at the same time. And so it kind of hit us.
Right.
And so here I am. I was like, I want to do this. I know that per our policies, I've not been there for the equated time. I was like, so sign me up, and then on my day that I'm qualified, I'll do that. And so I was persistent enough that they're like, okay, we're just going to go ahead and send you through. So me and then another of the new hires, whenever I was hired, are both CTOs now.
Nice.
And I love it. I want to make sure that they're trained up to my standard. But I'm also not going to let them – I check on them all the time. It's their first day on the floor with me. They get my cell phone number. It's like, if you have a problem, I don't care what time it is, call me. Text me. It doesn't matter. Here's my home address. You can come to my house. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you have a problem, get a hold of me. We're – again, it's nurture your baby dispatchers. Don't overkill it until they don't learn, but make sure that they feel like someone's got their back.
That is key right there, man. And just, from listening to you and you saying that you tell them, to call you, to go to your house, whichever, that was the same thing that you said about your trainer. So it just keeps going, the awesomeness continues.
Yeah. Brooke was my trainer, and I took a lot of the way that I train is the way she trained me. And I tell her that. I still text her every now and then, give her a hard time. But I'm like, the day I got to be a CTO, I was like, hey, I'm a CTO now.
Yeah.
I'm like, so your training legacy is still here. You may not be here, but people are still learning the same way you taught.
What does it mean to you to be a CTO, to be part of that as well? Part of the training and molding others that are coming in.
It makes me, I'm part of the future.
Yeah.
I get to help make sure that my community is protected, that they get the appropriate attention, the appropriate resources needed because of the way I was trained, and I'm training people to be as good as me, if not better. I want my goal whenever they come out of there is for them to be better than me.
That's awesome. Damn, dude. That is excellent. Well, so we've gone through your story and everything that you do, which is fucking awesome. Like, well done. Like, this is
Thank
really
you.
cool. It just hearing you talk about it, I mean, it's inspiring, man. And just for those to be able to watch and listen as well, this is what you want, like CTOs and your crew, building that camaraderie. This is what you want to shoot for. This is the type of center that you want to be a part of. Shit, if I go back to dispatch, I'm going to come and work for you.
Come do it. Listen, our shift cooks every Sunday that we work on rotation.
Oh, fuck.
We take turns.
I like food.
Everyone's got a different Sunday, so we work on a rotation where you work every other weekend. And so Sunday is the last day of that rotation.
Yeah.
So we make sure we have a good meal. So every Sunday that we work, it's their day. And so you separate it so you don't have to cook once every 4 weeks.
Damn.
I know. Before we left, we had homemade lasagna and homemade garlic bread. Yeah.
Man.
Dave, he was my first trainee.
Yeah.
Whenever he was really sick on our shift. He's from Richmond. And he used to give me such a hard time because Carter County is not that large of an area. And other than, short 1 or 2 years of me leaving and then coming back, I know the area like none other. Yeah. And I know a lot of the people. So a lot of the times him as a trainee, when, you had these irate people, I'd know them by name. And so I'd let him work, and they finally wouldn't. So I'd be like, hold on. Let me have the phone. I'd be like, hey, so-and-so, it's Jacob. No, "Oh, hey man, how's it going?" And instantly changed their tone. And he would just look at me and cuss me from it. He's like, "How do you do that?" I was like, "I know them." You know?
See, that is cool as well as being someone who's been there for a while and knowing certain people, because like you're saying, if they're being irate, and you're able to calm them down a little bit by saying who you are, or also helping one of your trainees or whichever, dude, that makes all the difference as well.
The best one that happened on Dave is it was so I try to explain this. The patient that we had was having heart issues. His son-in-law's son was best friends with my middle brother. So they were always at the house. And so the son-in-law was just irate. Why is no one coming, la, 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 screaming. And Dave he's trying as hard as he can, just trying to get basic information. And so I'm like, I've got this. I'm like, Tony, it's Jacob. Let me talk to your dad. He's like, Jacob. And I'm like, Santiago. He's like, oh, here's Dad.
Hell yeah.
Dave just looked at me like I'm some miracle worker. I was like, I could have walked on water that day and he wouldn't have thought a thing about it.
You're throwing gold out. You're making it rain.
He would. But we got, as soon as I said that, we got all the information we needed from the dad. Yeah. And then the son got back online and then apologized.
Damn, dude, that's a win right there. Even a bigger win.
Yeah, he goes, I'm sorry. It's my father-in-law. I don't understand. I understand.
Yeah.
Your worst day is our every day.
Exactly. Yep. But that was the cherry on top, getting that, that apology as well. Oh, man. So, they're making an announcement right now. So it is now 5 o'clock. So there are people lining up next to us already for the bar. So there's probably bars all over the place, and they're giving out free drinks. So that's what's going on right now. You heard the announcement. So we've gone through your story and all, but a lot of different things happen for a lot of different people during the peak rather of this the pandemic. A lot of people, it seemed, were learning new skills. Just doing a bunch of different stuff. I ended up doing a virtual conference. Like, there was a bunch of different things that people were doing. And there was something that came out of this as well that you and a buddy, right, started doing?
Yeah, my supervisor, Jasper. We were sitting in there. It was a Saturday, and it was unusually slow.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, I'm like, did someone hit the unseat button? Because the phone's not ringing.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what we need to do? A YouTube on cooking. And so he's talking about it. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. He goes, okay, well, we need to do this. So I sit there. I always bring my laptop in case something breaks. I can log into our server and fix it real quick or whatever. So since the phones aren't ringing, I start setting everything up. So he doesn't know that I'm setting it up yet. He knows that I'm going to.
Yeah.
So 20, 30 minutes go by. I get us a Facebook profile set up for Fat Guys Barbecue. And a YouTube channel set up. And I'm like, okay. So I go over to his side of the room. And I'm like, here's all our login information. He just looks at me. He goes, we're really doing this. And I'm like, well, you said you wanted to do it. Let's do it. And so on YouTube, we do a cooking show called Fat Guys Barbecue. And it's a BBQ, all one word.
Yeah.
And we're not just limited to barbecue, but we cook anything. And it's been a really good release from work.
Nice.
And our shift and our field units love it because they get to eat.
Of course. I'd be all about it as well. Are you guys doing a new episode? Because I want to try whatever it is that you're doing.
we had been posting weekly. We've had some schedule changes with work. Uh-huh. He actually got pushed to another shift while one of them recuperates from an injury.
Yeah.
So because we're split on different shifts, we're never off at the same time. So we've been delayed on, I guess, about 3 weeks now. We haven't been able to post. Mm-hmm. As soon as he gets back, though, we're going to go full steam. We've got a couple of separate episodes that we've made by ourselves that we're going to be pumping them out.
Oh man! Okay, so on that note, I want to share this really quick here, because you've got one here, and it's smoked cheese. Yes. So let me pull this up really quick for those who are listening on the podcast right now. We'll try to talk through this a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of audio, so that'll work. So I'm going to share the screen here.
Yeah, so since Jasper was the original brainchild, he normally does. He's the face of the channel.
Oh, okay.
So normally, I'll appear in, or you'll see a hand of mine, throwing him stuff. and then I'll do all the post.
You're a hand model.
Yeah, these
Like,
big old bear claws.
Here's so okay. We're looking at. You've got a video on here. It's called Smoked Cheese. You've got these big old blocks of cheese, and it's like an 11-minute video, but I ended up going all the way to the end just to kind of get to this part right here. So I'm going to go ahead and push play, and we should be able to hear this.
So I believe
Okay.
that's going to be a white cheddar that he's pulling. That day we done a couple different normal yellow cheddar, some white cheddar, and some Gouda and provolone.
Nice. Dude, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it turned out really good. We actually used that and cut it up and was put it on smoked bologna biscuits.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God. Dude, this is amazing. Okay, so does it... Oh my God. Like, I don't even know what to say right now because it looks so good. Okay, so here's my question. When you, let's say you're using just like a fork, like does it just, you cut into it and it melts down or what is it?
So with smoked cheese, it's extremely potent whenever it first comes off the smoker.
Yeah.
So you actually got to seal it up and sit on it in the freezer for 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
So here you are every time you open your fridge or your freezer and that cheese is just staring at you.
Oh, dude, okay, hold on a minute. I don't know that I would be able to do it then because I'm sometimes like a kid at Christmas time, at Christmas Day.
It was rough. And so after we done this, our director's like, we brought it and shared it. We share a lot with our crew and our admin. They're our taste tester dummies. They just don't know it. So they
will now.
You knew, okay, let's not pretend that you didn't. And so they'll eat it, give us any advice that they have. And so we brought them some, and then our director's like, we need to do that again. So we brought a giant wood burner stove or a smoker and put it on our back patio. We have a covered back patio with a grill on it and now a smoker.
Oh,
and
man.
so we ended up, smoked cheese doesn't take long. So this is 2.5, 3 hours in total of smoking time. So while we were there on shift, everyone that wanted smoked cheese brought it in. So we ended up doing 12 pounds of cheese at the comm center.
Oh,
so everybody brought in their
shit.
cheese. We got it all set up, and then went back to dispatching. And so there it went. After it got done, we had to divvy it up to responsible people to keep in their refrigerators so it wouldn't get eaten. So I took half, and Jasper took, a little less than half. Jasper took a little less than half. And then our director took some. And so then we sat on it for 2 weeks. But I didn't have all the cheese that I just wanted. So that way I couldn't break into it early. So like the provolone, I really wanted that.
Yeah.
I didn't get to take that home.
Oh.
That was at Jasper's. So we waited for the 2 weeks and then brought it all back and had smoked bologna and smoked cheese biscuits.
Oh, God. What's crazy is that I just ate a little while ago, but now I feel like I'm starving because it just sounds so good. So, again, as we're going into the wrap up of this episode, it's been awesome to get your story, but also what you've been doing with Jasper and all with this YouTube channel. So, again, with your social media links, how can people find you all? And I mean, do you guys take requests as well from those who are watching?
Yes, requests, because this is essentially a tutorial video. So if you have any questions on how we do something, shoot us a comment either on the video or on our Facebook profile. Everything's sent back and forth between the two. So if you have any questions, do that. If you have a request, do that too. I have people all the time. They'll be like, hey, I need a recipe for this. I had a buddy of mine. He lives out in California. He was dating this girl. She has celiac, so she can't have gluten. He's like, she wants fried chicken so bad. So she can't do that. I was like, okay, hold on, I'll find you something. So we found them, or attempted to find them. It's been hard to find a good fried chicken. If anybody out there knows of a good gluten-free fried chicken recipe, hit me up. Because it's been hard. But all the time people are like, how have you done this? Or TikTok has a lot of food stuff on it. So they'll send me, everyone that has my phone, about, have you done this? So we've had a few videos that haven't been posted yet of stuff that we found on TikTok. We've made it their way once, and then we make it our way and then video it and stick it out.
Oh, that's pretty badass, man. Well, so thank you so much for being on this episode. But I got one last question for you. So, how important? And I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, or you mentioned it a little bit. But how important is it for those in our profession, especially in dispatch, to find something outside of dispatch to kind of, I guess, decompress in a way? Because almost, with the process of smoking and everything that goes into it, that can be therapeutic.
It is, because while we're waiting, we're sitting there and we'll just chit chat.
Yeah.
And then if something's, I know I had a really bad call, I guess beginning of December. It involved a small child that got into a drive-by shooting.
Oh, wow.
And she was still alive. And so it bothered me.
Yeah.
Bad. And that gave me time. We would sit there doing something we like, and we could just talk about it.
Right.
Or talk about other stuff, just to kind of air it out. And to me, that is the most important thing you can do as a dispatcher, is do not hold it in.
Right.
Find someone to talk to that can relate. You can't just talk to anybody about it, because it's not gonna matter. Find somebody that can actually relate. And so again, this cuts back to my shift. I know that if I have an issue, I can talk to them. I know Leslie, after that drive-by, Leslie was texting me on my off days, "Hey, how are you doing?
Right.
Do you need anything?" And that's important. Taking care of your mental health is super important. Just find it. You have to have an outlet. If you don't have an outlet, you will not rest.
Right. Awesome, man. Thank you so very much for being on. This has been a lot of fun, man. And good luck with the channel. And whenever I'm in Tennessee, man, I am gonna stop over there, whether it be at your place or wherever, and we're gonna hang out and cook, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd
If you
be
can
all about
find
it.
Carter County's Comm Center, I live 2 minutes away. So
Nice.
just find me. We will cook. We will make sure you do not leave hungry.
Badass. Awesome. Thank you again, man, for being on. I appreciate it. And for those who are watching and listening, if you have any questions or comments, or you want to be a guest on the show, you can email us, and that is going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. That is @91podcast. You can like us on Facebook. That is facebook.com/Within the Trenches podcast. This episode has been sponsored by InDigital as well as Rapid Deploy. Thank you again to all the patrons, and also a big shout out to Nina for hooking us up, presenting and hosting us here at the 2021 NENA Conference in Columbus, Ohio. Again, we're at booth 1045, and we are currently in the Expo Hall, and it has just been an excellent time here. If you're looking for any bonus content, you can check us out, and that is patreon.com/WTT podcast, and thank you for everything from that as well. This can be seen on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter, and then you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.